Partner4Work engaged in a robust strategic planning process that spanned the last 5 months. So we want to thank our board members, staff, community stakeholders who participated in the interviews, the SWOT analysis, the stakeholder retreats, and the design phases. This was our first strategic planning process in more than 10 years. And as I heard from all of you and staff, a strategic plan was long overdue and needed to shape our vision and direction for the next few years. So as you read in your board packet, we are proposing an inspirational vision, an actionable mission statement, as well as 4 strategic priorities over the next 3 years. And the priorities proposed are: advance and deliver effective, inclusive, and user-centered programs that build a stronger regional workforce; convene and influence local leaders to support data-informed decision-making and field-wide innovation; expand our name recognition, credibility, and value proposition among our key partners; and bolster our organizational infrastructure to support innovative programs and sustainable impact. These priorities and subsequent strategies were determined as a result of numerous discussions and learning from Third Plateau. And it's our belief that these goals are achievable, measurable, and meaningful to the public workforce system in general and to Partner4Work specifically. So we'll hold ourselves accountable to this blueprint to determine our effectiveness and authority in the workforce space. As we move into the new year, the Partner4Work team will develop a dashboard reporting mechanism that will be used to regularly update the board on our progress. So before we move into discussion and action, I want to take a moment to introduce Maya Kejiyama and Katie Lardaro from Third Plateau to speak for a moment on the methodology and process used to land on the proposed plan.
Thanks so much, Rob. And thank you everyone for having us here this morning. It's great to see all of you. My name is Maya, and I'm joined by our researcher, Katie. And we are, just to briefly introduce ourselves for those of you who we haven't met yet, we are part of Third Plateau, which is a social impact strategy firm that provides strategy, research, leadership development services for nonprofits, government agencies, foundations, and other organizations working to achieve a social impact. So first, I want to just say congratulations on this really, really strong roadmap for the next few years for the organization. It represents a lot of thinking, a lot of work, and I think from where we began and where we ended, I can see how this has articulated the vision of so many different people who have been involved in this process. So just thank you to all of you who have been engaged. It's been an honor to work with such a committed team working on this systems level change, and it's been really exciting for Katie and I to get a glimpse into the work that you all do. So appreciate the opportunity. So just to share a little bit briefly about the process that we worked on together, we embarked on this journey together in August, working with Rob and Jen to put together a comprehensive project plan that would take us through a 3-stage process. So Katie, I'll ask you to start by talking a little bit about the learning and ideation phases.
Great. Thanks so much, Maya. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us here today. So yes, I want to talk a little bit about our learning and ideation phases in the strategic planning process. So we started off the project with assembling a steering committee. So those were 11 staff and board members that continually weighed in on the strategic plan throughout the continued drafts that we were making over the course of the strategic planning process. After we assembled the steering committee, we also did a series of stakeholder engagement. So what that means is we conducted 12 different interviews with board members, community members, staff members, and funders to learn more about the current reality of the organization and the landscape that Partner4Work is operating in. So some of you are on this call, so thank you so much for your time and your participation, either in the steering committee or the stakeholder engagement. It was really important for our process to have both of those. From those 12 interviews, we took all that information and we gathered that into a SWOT analysis. So we analyzed the 12 interviews and we created this analysis that summarized the major themes and categorized them by perceived strengths of Partner4Work, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So throughout these interviews, what we found, our stakeholders noted that Partner4Work is an exceptional convener and provides effective oversight for workforce services and has an unwavering commitment to creativity and innovation. We also found that Partner4Work has the opportunity to become the thought leader for regional workforce development and strengthen organizational partnerships, among other opportunities. But those are just some key highlights for you all. After our learning phase, we took our SWOT analysis, we gathered that steering committee of staff and board members and for a 3-day virtual retreat. And in that retreat, we revisited the organization's purpose, why Partner4Work exists, and to explore some big ticket priority items that Rob mentioned at the top of this call. From there, we got a little bit more specific and we had breakout meetings to talk through each of these priorities and what those actually meant. So who is going to do them? How are we going to make these priorities actionable? So over the next 3 or so years, we can make some really significant progress on them. So that's a little bit about our learning phase and our ideation phase. And I'll pass it back to Maya to talk about our last step of the process.
Thanks, Katie. So our last phase, we always call iterative design because it's an extremely iterative process to take all those inputs that we got during the retreat, that we got during the strategy brainstorms, and actually make sense of it. So Katie and I started drafting some of what we heard from those sessions, but then worked really closely with the staff, with the steering committee, with the team to get feedback, to massage all of that, and to really create a product that really made sense, that was going to inspire the team, that was going to align everyone around shared goals, and really built off of the work that you all were already doing. So we sent out a survey to gather feedback on the first draft that we had put together. We continued to make edits along the way. And then we also started to move into implementation planning. So during this process, we worked with the team to start to think about what is it actually going to cost beyond our original budget for the next year? What additional costs do we anticipate? Who's going to be responsible for this? What kind of timeline do we want to set out, knowing that we can't accomplish all of these things all at once, right? We're not going to start on every single tactic on day one. Some of them are going to start in years 2 or year 3. And what are some of the measures that we want to have to keep track of how are we measuring our progress? What is the impact that we're actually having on the strategies and tactics that we set out in our strategic plan? So through that process, it also helped us to think about what's really realistic for our team and how do we need to adjust. So we worked closely with the team to make those changes, to make sure that we're building on the initiatives that are currently in place, to be ambitious and to be clear, while also thinking about what needs to be in the plan and what is it gonna look like on the team and the staff level to be building some of this out in their work plans as well. So I just really appreciate, again, want to reiterate how committed the team is and how involved everyone was in really pulling this off and pulling it together. And I'm just really excited about the final product and where you all landed with this roadmap. I think it really sets you up for success. It builds off of where you currently are to really be a thought leader in the next few years, to step up, to continue to support a really cohesive and strong workforce system around you in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. So that's a little bit about the process and what we've been working on for the past few months. And Rob, I'll pass it back to you.
Rob, before we open up to discussion, I just want to make an important comment. If any of you need to get a subject to talk about with 11 people and other stakeholders who have an absolute certainty that their opinion is correct, I would recommend that you hire Katie and Maya, because they managed to herd the cats through a process, and there was a lot more than the 11 people that they reached out to. And they were very polite about telling people to shut up, or we already heard you, or we need to move on. And we got to a point where I feel like at least the steering committee has consensus, strong consensus on the finished product. So I really did want to thank you, Katie and Maya, for your work. It was very insightful and thorough. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'll
Thanks,
definitely
Dave.
double down on that. And also just thank the board, our staff. You know, when you have to pull all these opinions, like Dave said, from over 30 people, you know, it's quite a daunting task, but everyone stepped up, you know, from the design phases to the interviews to the policy meetings that we had. Just really proud of the engagement of this board and our staff. So thank you, everyone. And now I'll open it up for questions and discussion.
And
I know it's a super shy group, so I'll just kick it off by saying I saw reflected in the plan that I read, the conversation I had with Katie, and for that I'm grateful, and I'm sure that the steering committee, working with the consultants, ensured that each of us who participated can feel that way. So I'm very proud of the plan that's been put forth, and appreciative because it had been a very long time since we put forth a strategic plan.
Thank you.
And I'll also add, I thought it was a great process, very iterative. Maya and I had several conversations, very responsive to the feedback, and really love the number of stakeholders and board and staff involved. So thank you very much. I thought it was excellent.
Thank you.
you know, our work is pretty complicated and goes down different paths. I'm wondering, those of you who sort of read the finished product, if you didn't know us, if you'd get a real sense of what we actually want to focus on and what we do every day. Did you guys all feel that? Because that we were very anxious for outside people to understand the strategic plan as well. Was there a Christmas party last night that I don't know about? Everybody's quiet today.
Well, I'm nodding yes, and I
Maybe.
know you can see with from the video. I mean, I think so. I could put it in the chat too, I guess, but yes,
That's
I
right.
think so.
Good.
You know, I like to also add that, you know, although this sets the strategic plan for the next 3 years, it is a working, living document. And behind this document, we also have an implementation plan that will be worked on and strategically implemented throughout the next 3 years also. So it's not just this document. There are documents behind this that are strategically designed to inform how we go about that process and timelines around that also.
Yeah, this is Gabby. Thank you, Rob, for mentioning that, because I was curious about sort of the action plan after, of course, having very lofty, ambitious, which was excellent goals, and a strategy is one thing, but then to really implement it and have the tactical application is a second step. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, and that was very important for us when choosing a team to help us go through this strategic process, that we didn't walk away with just a plan, but a very actionable plan even after that in regards to how we're going to implement the strategic process. So thank you for that, Gabby.
And I also think, Rob, this is Laura, I think the structure of doing that way was particularly good because it serves both purposes. Gabby's that we need the really strategic, weedy stuff to do what we do as a board, but the main document itself is much more readable, much more accessible, and I think serves Dave's purpose, both Dave's purposes of speaking to the public about what we do, which is, to me anyway, a big missing link in what we've done before. And I thought it was very readable, very approachable, very not tech speak, and I liked it.
Yep, I totally agree, Laura. As much as I love the weeds, most people.
We have to love the weeds, right? That's why we're here.
What weed are we talking about here now? This is a
Oh, David.
Weed merchant is not a very good thing to be selling.
Any other comments? Do we need a vote to adopt this or anything formal, Rob?
Yes, I need a motion to approve the 2023 strategic plan as presented.
So
This is
moved.
Tim. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it then.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any objections or abstentions also?
Yeah. Hearing none, then the strategic plan will be adopted as presented. Maya and Katie, thanks again. I think you can go home now, unless you want to stay around and listen to us continue our meeting. It's up to you. All right, Rob, do you want to move into the your report, please?
Sure. For my report this year, or this meeting, just wanted to do kind of a year in review. So I just wanted to take a moment to highlight some of the accomplishments that Partner4Work has had over the last calendar year. So as you know, Partner4Work has worked the last year to develop a strong relationship with Mayor Gainey and his cabinet. As a result of these efforts, Partner4Work has been a key partner in Mayor Gainey's Pathways to Prosperity program with PPS and the Civic Leadership Academy, where Pittsburgh Public School students right now are learning about their local government while earning college credits and a small stipend to further their financial empowerment education. In addition, I'm pleased to share that Chief of Staff Wheatley will be joining the board and the executive committee next month to further solidify the strategic alignment with the mayor's and county executives' workforce priorities. Partner4Work was proud to develop a briefing document for then candidate Josh Shapiro to inform the workforce development priorities for the Commonwealth. Since then, Darren Kelly and I have been asked to serve on the governor-elect's transition team on workforce development. Kevin Acklin and Sam Williamson serve on the business development transition team. Tom Melcher serves on the transportation and infrastructure team. And our partners in philanthropy and labor also serve on various teams, in addition to Will Allen serving on the state workforce board. I'm saying all of this to emphasize the influence that this board has, not just in terms of workforce, but other areas that also lead to the work that we do here. Internally, Partner4Work reestablished the internal research arm. With Susie as the lead, we've been building out a strong policy and research department that will produce monthly labor market reports, as well as thought leadership pieces. These research pieces will live on Partner4Work's website, and recent examples were included in your board packet. In 2023, the research team will prepare a series of informational pieces that can be used by educators, including guidance counselors in the county school districts. School superintendents voiced the need for these resources when we met with them last month at an AIU convening in Erie. The industry partnership team continues to work closely with and support employers' workforce needs, including the team at UPMC and Allegheny Health Networks and others. Among that work is a partnership with UPMC Health Plan's Neighborhood Center in the East End. The community center had its grand opening last week and is aimed at boosting residents of 8 neighborhoods, whether they are health plan members or not, with workforce development, food, and healthcare services. We also have convened PPS and AHN to create a dual enrollment CNA program that will pathway to LPN after graduation. The first cohort will begin in January. In April, we brought on Dr. Carl Wesley on board to lead and reimagine the program side of the house. Under his leadership, we have explored innovative strategies to increase our presence in communities with high poverty and unemployment. His onboarding led to Partner4Work receiving nearly $1 million in funding for the first time from the Department of Justice to expand our efforts in the reentry space. Learn and Earn exceeded its placement goal this summer, serving more than 1,300 young people. Since 2015, the program has served over 11,000 young people who have earned more than $11.5 million in wages. The 2022 Learn and Earn report is expected to be published by the end of the month. And we announced the release of $8.6 million in Title I Adult Dislocated Worker, WIOA and TANF Youth Services, and for the One-Stop Operator. We received local and national media coverage of the funding announcement. As you know from our last meeting, we opened the new downtown Career Link location in October. The new location is fresh, inviting, professional, and welcoming to the individuals that we serve. We hope to host our grand opening in early 2023 and have started the process of exploring new locations for our Allegheny County Job Center also. Also this year, we developed a multimedia communication strategy we deployed to keep you informed between board meetings and also to inform potential partners of our newly open RFPs. And last, we met with State Representative Klunk of the Subcommittee on Employment and Unemployment and the delegation of legislators at our downtown CareerLink office to discuss unemployment, the needs of employers in the region, and the role of the public workforce system. Chairman Malone and I will continue the conversation with Representative Klunk and her team on Monday. Thank you.
What else did you do, Rob?
We had a host of other things that we couldn't fit in.
It really is impressive to look back over the year and see that things, especially it was your first year. So I think we got an awful lot done. Among the things I think most important is not just what we did it, but how. And I think what we've managed to do is position Rob as a leader, recognized leader on workforce matters. Just as late as I don't know if you were on the phone this morning, but Rob, I got a call or I met with the chair of the transition team for education and workforce, who was spreading his accolades about Rob's contribution to the meeting. And I know Deb heard the same thing. So the mayor's leaning on him. Harrisburg, Akmar, who wrote, all Josh's planks, is leaning on Rob. And I just want to keep every chance we get. I want to make this community know that the Center for Workforce Issues is Rob Cherry and the Workforce Board. And we're all of our strategic plan, we kept that theme throughout to make sure that we break down the confusion in the marketplace from the various players that are doing some of what needs to be done, but nobody coordinating all the activity. So I think you've done a great job, Rob. I'm really pleased with what I've seen from you, and love to hear any comments from the rest of the board.
I think it's been an outstanding year, and I think that Rob and the team should be commended. Rob, thank you for your leadership. You're really taking the issues on and digging in. So thank you.
By the way, don't get any ideas about moving to Harrisburg, Rob. That's not an option for you.
No, sir.
Yeah, I don't want to be interim CEO again. That's not.
I would just have to echo, thank you, and really appreciate all the partnership and the leadership that has occurred over the past year, and I think really making some differences and inroads here. So thank you.
Thank you.
This is Frank. I also agree with all of the comments said. Appreciate working with the entire board, especially appreciate Rob's leadership. I think it's been a phenomenal year. Looking for more good things to happen as we roll out our new strategic plan. Thanks, Rob.
So I have my hand up, but I guess I'll just jump right in. I too appreciate all the work that's being done, and sort of based on Dave's comment about coordination in the research area, we can certainly do a lot ourselves, but there are other organizations like the Regional Data Center at the University of Pittsburgh doing research along the same lines. And I think it'll be a real opportunity for us to coordinate, in Dave's words, the research that's being done in the area as well.
I think that's a great point, Nancy. And in our research and policy department, we're definitely partnering with Pitt and other research institutions, Brookings, to do that work. So thank you so much for that.
I'm just going to jump into to say, I think, we've talked here about staff. We have an extraordinary staff, just an absolutely extraordinary staff. And I think, Rob, the work that you have done to marshal them around this new strategic plan and so forth is exceptional. They are all exceptional, as they've heard me say in many quarters. But for this organization to achieve the centerpiece role that it wants, it has to have a face. One face that is seen again and again and again everywhere doing really good work. And that's your face, Rob. And you have been everywhere. You have been tireless. You have into my ear the respect of every single person who has come in contact with you on these issues. And that's not easy to do. And so special thanks to you and to everybody on this really extraordinary staff.
Thank you.
I agree with that, Laura, but I will tell you, every time Rob and I started meeting with someone, I brag about our board composition. And I did want to make sure we acknowledge that part of the credibility he gets in the marketplace is because you all support him. So
Absolutely.
wanted to make sure we thanked our board for all they've done. I feel like this is Christmas time. This is way too polite. Can we argue about something? Any other comments? Do we have any other business, Rob?
No, and I just want to echo thank you to the board. As Dave said, I don't get all these opportunities if it's not for you all kind of clearing runway for me a lot of times. And, you know, thank you to Susie, Carl, Jen, Kristen, the whole Partner4Work team, who I see work tireless every week throughout the year. So thank you all so much.
Okay, does anybody else have anything for the good of the order? Then we will solicit public comments. Are there any public comments? Hearing none, we will suspend our public comment period. Well, everybody, have a great holiday. Enjoy yourself. Thanks for everything. I'm very proud to be associated with all of you. So
Thanks for your leadership, Dave.
Thank
Same.
you,
Thanks for your leadership. Thanks, everyone.
everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holiday, everybody.